Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Consciousness Ascending experience. We're extremely excited you're here for today's intuitive conversation. If this is your first time with us and you find value, be sure to like and subscribe. You're most welcome and appreciated. If you're inspired to new understanding, please comment. This further solidifies the new insights inside of you and serves as inspiration to the growth and expansion of others. Lastly, be sure to check the description for free content, the ability to connect with us more closely, and to connect with our special guest. Today, we have the privilege to create with Dr. Terrance Terry Meekins. Terry served 20 years in the United States Navy and is a retired combat veteran. Currently, he is the senior pastor at Cornerstone Faith Church in Moreno Valley, California, and is the author of the book titled Divine Wisdom: Understanding Your Awakening to your spiritual ascension, that's available on Amazon. Terry, it's exciting for you to be here, man.
I am excited to have you on. It is such a pleasure. Like I told you before, I've been a fan for a year since I saw you on the Alex Ferrari. I think it was
Yeah,
the podcast,
yeah, next level soul.
Next Level Soul, and you just resonated with my spirit. And I was like, oh man, this he's in my arena right there. So I was
Yeah,
like, and what was crazy about it is before you emailed me the invite, which I am so appreciative, I was thinking, man, I would really love to connect with you and really talk to you and really just, and that was kind of like a informal prayer, if you will.
yeah,
And 2 days after I had that, and it was like really, really strong. Everything comes to me in really threes. So on the
uh-huh.
third one, you popped up and I went, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome because, I've got a short list of people that I was going to contact to try to start this thing, this intuitive conversations, and a couple of people. I've got a few people that channel that reached out to me and had sessions with me,
Hmm.
and so I had them on there and a couple of other people. But to start outside of my first one, you were the biggest. It was like send him, touch base with him, touch base with him, and I already knew what you were going to say, right? So it was like
Right.
do that. And so it's interesting how you're telling me that you're giving me this information and how this happens a lot.
Right.
We don't, nobody has the conversation and says, "Hey, did you just think about me? I just thought about you." And then you called, or a couple of days later, we saw each other in store. Nobody has those conversations, but that type of thing happens all the
Oh,
time,
yep. Yep.
right? It happens all the time. What do you think about that?
I believe everything is divine timing, divine planning to help us along our spiritual path in the direction we agreed to go on prior to coming into this incarnation.
Yeah,
And I believe the more that, for me particularly, that I tap into that divine wisdom and that consciousness, the more I see the evidence. Because as you say, you can't make it up. It's kind of like when people think, and I teach this in the church, that hey, have you ever had that thought of thinking in someone and all of a sudden they popped up and you haven't seen them in months or years, and all of a sudden you guys come together and all of a sudden it is the perfect conversation. It is like everything was just as it was before when you all had the first meeting compared to
yep,
where it is now.
yep,
And we don't talk about it enough. And for me being a pastor, those type of deja vus are not taught or preached from the pulpit, and a lot of it is pushed by the wayside. And nothing against religion, but it pushes it aside where it's almost taboo to talk about it, even though it exists and it happens to every single person.
yeah,
We
yeah,
don't express it from the pulpit to the congregation of deja vus and divine interactions. When we
yeah,
have that thought, even though we might touch a base it here and there in some scriptures or some spiritual teaching, but it's never to the accuracy of, hey, you know what? It is amazing how the universe, creator, whatever you want to call it, brought us together at this particular time, at this particular moment for a particular reason. And I'm
yeah,
also a believer that it is also designed to teach and learn both parties at the same time. We're always teachers and students. So when interactions happen, I go, okay, what is it I'm supposed to learn in this moment? And
Yeah.
that's kind of been my shift when I have those. Okay, what am I supposed to learn in this moment? Because I learned that nothing happens by coincidence, and there are definitely no accidents.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one, and that's something that we say collaborative components.
Okay.
Collaborative components always coming together with perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the energies first. Something
Right.
about the vibration, something about the energy, because with people, with experiences, because like you said, perfect timing. You cannot 2 minutes earlier, 2 minutes later, it wouldn't have happened.
It
Whether
would.
it's something that you think was awesome or something that you think was terrible. Two
Right.
minutes earlier or 2 minutes later, I mean, that
Yeah.
small of a fraction of amount of time, it would never have happened. You wouldn't have saw that person
Right.
walking through the parking lot. You wouldn't
Right.
have been standing beside them at the store.
Exactly.
Right? So how
Exactly.
how do you account for that? you
And
know?
and really, I search for those type of answers on, okay, why? Why did this happen? And again, it goes for me. I just keep it really simple. It's for me to learn something
Yep.
always. And I get a great example was many years ago when I started Cornerstone Faith Church. We were actually doing the traditional religious things, and we actually had the church in our home. And my associate minister, Adam, we were having some type of conflict.
Yeah.
And long story short, he went his way, I went my way. And I just kind of went into the, you know what? I learned a great lesson from that. He was a bit of a narcissist, but I had to learn, you know what? I was also a narcissist, not that I want to admit it and about a year and a half later, after I really just kind of went through, you know what? Okay, I'm glad that happened. I forgive him. I love him. No ill will. I happened to
Mm-hmm.
see him on his birthday
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
at the restaurant, and I didn't recognize him. And he came up and he gave me the biggest bear hug, and man, I love you. And I'm going, who are you? At first, I was like, who are you? Then it clicked. Oh my gosh, it's him. And I went,
Yeah.
wow, what a magnificent thing, because there was no animosity, there was no hate, there was no
Yeah.
ill will, there was none of that. What had happened in the past, it was like we almost shifted into different dimensions where we were in terms of the
Yeah.
journey that we were going. And it was kind of a coming together meeting of, it's okay, everything's okay, you're at peace now, you don't have to hold on to that type of energy.
Yeah.
And everybody at my table that was pastors was like, oh man, and his whole family was there. I had baptized his family, I had married all his family, I had buried all of them, so I was very close to him. And when
Yeah.
that incident happened, I just kind of gradually, gracefully kind of weaned my way away from it, to
Yeah.
kind of give myself some growth to learn, because when
Yeah.
those things happen, it jars you and it kind of sets you back on why. And I stopped asking, okay, why not? If
Yeah.
I'm going to practice this, why would I not go ahead and uproot all those feelings that I'd probably have suppressed or thought about or whatever that needed to be healed?
Yeah.
That's what for me, that's what I learned out of that meeting. And I was just looking at him in awe, and he even looked different, spoke
Yeah.
different, talked different.